Have you figured out your niche? Are you helping adding value to other people's lives? Then you're in the right place. Welcome to Munira's Musings with your host, Munira Zahabi.
Greetings from Chicagoland. This is Munira, the Niche Navigator, coming to you live with another guest, another perspective, and another fun episode of Munira's Musings. How are you, everybody, this morning? Our guest today is Kaye Walker. I ask everybody to say that 3 times, very fast. They got a tongue twister, right? But it's her name. And she is an amazing woman who is a speaker and talks about overcoming fear. Now, how many of you have never, ever felt the fear? I know there's a lot of you in the same boat as me, so let's talk a little bit with Kaye. But before we do that, let me tell you what Munira's Musing does. We are here to showcase a person who has overcome hurdles and has now found their niche. I'm the Niche Navigator, and I help people find their niches. And most people don't know what they want to do, so they have to trial and error till they get to it. But I make it easier by making the steps. I can guarantee 6 weeks you will figure out what your niche is. Then you build your business on that platform that we've built. But without further ado, welcome, Kaye. How are you?
Thank you. I'm so good.
Where
I'm excited to be here.
From?
Utah.
Nice.
And there's still snow outside, but
well, it's not outside here in Chicagoland. You know, we were hit by a very bad storm a few weeks ago.
Oh.
Nice, but hey, you know what? We survived. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, I have been in the graphic design business most of my life. So from when I graduated college with an art degree until about 24 years ago, I was a graphic designer. I had my own business and I worked full time for somebody else in the art department. And about, probably 20 years into it, I got tired of it. And I thought, is this what I'm going to do the rest of my life? And I was also struggling with depression. When I had my son, I had really bad anxiety attacks because I couldn't breathe as he grew into my lungs. And then after I had him, I had postpartum depression on top of the anxiety attacks. And so they put me on a lot of medications to help me not be crazy. And they said, don't worry, it'll only be a few months. Everything will be back to normal and you can go off of them. Well, 12 years later, I was still on them. And at that point, it just made me numb all the time. So then I had a life sheet. What?
Did you say 12 years?
Yes, I was on them 12 years instead of a few months.
Oh, wow.
Because every time I tried to go off them, I would have horrible panic attacks. And I would get irrationally angry at everything. So they always said, oh, no, go back on them. So I was just always numb all the time, and it was a problem. And I ended up getting fired from my job. And I thought, okay, well, now what? I'm a worthless human. I have no job. I'm always depressed. I'm always numb. I'm a terrible wife. I'm a terrible mother. So I was in this deep depression. And then I got invited to a personal development seminar. I'd never been to one before. I didn't know what it was like. But it was amazing and it changed my life. And that's when I decided to become a speaker and become a life coach, took all the training and totally embraced this new lifestyle, which is often terrifying, but I feel the fear and do it anyway. And I love it. And I've spoken all over the world now, and I have lots of clients. I make a lot of money doing what I love. So I am so glad that it turned out this way. So that's a nutshell.
So in all of this chaos, there was a ray of sunshine.
Yes.
And you had to allow that ray of sunshine to pour into.
Exactly.
So I mean that, very few people can tell this story, but many people have a similar story where something triggered a change, right? And
Yes.
that change is always so fearful, so amazingly scary, that what am I going to do? How am I going to survive? How do I take the next step?
Yep.
And most people look at a ladder that they have to climb instead of the one step that they have to take before they take the next one. So
Right.
how did you like, I mean, from a personal development seminar to a
Hmm.
world class coach, how did you take those bite-sized pieces, or did you just eat the elephant in one gulp?
No, I did bite-sized pieces. The first thing I did was I started changing what I said to myself. So I had affirmations that I would say every day that were completely different than my current reality, but they were what I wanted to be. So as I wrote a whole story, like it was 10 minutes long, and I would read it out loud every day. And I would read it in the morning and in the evening, both. And then I ended up recording it and listening to it. And it described me as I wanted to be. It described me as a motivational speaker who changed lives from the stage all over the world, and just all the things I wanted. And as I continued to repeat those affirmations, ideas would come to me, little ideas. Do this, try this, call this person, see what the next event is. And I would do it. And I would just do one thing. And I wouldn't let myself think about the future, because when I would try to see the whole thing, I would panic. So one little step, one idea, act on it. And then the next day I'd get another little idea and act on it. So it was just a daily action step.
That's so amazing. I'm so amazed by that. And it's not difficult to do when you have one idea and you have to do that one idea.
Yeah.
So you talk over, on the stage. What do you talk about?
Well, I have talked about so many things. I've evolved. Right now, I teach about how to be a powerful speaker. But my first talk ever was how to overcome depression. And then I talked about how to stop people pleasing. And then I wrote about how to write a manifesting script. And then I wrote about how to manifest clients. Spoke about, not wrote about. So when I went to London, I was in my how to manifest clients phase. So that's what I spoke about 3 times in London. And then I spoke about overcoming fears. And now I speak about becoming a better speaker. So it has evolved over time, for sure.
Okay, so the thing is are you on depression meds now?
No. I went off them right after that first seminar 4 years ago. I went cold turkey. You shouldn't do that, but it worked for me. But I was fine. I was totally fine, because I had changed my mindset to I am healthy. I am happy. I am strong. I am safe. So the anxiety attacks went away. It was good.
No, there's a lot of people, especially now with COVID, even though they're opening a lot of things, there's still that underlying fear that people have. And many of them are anxious. It's not true depression, but that anxiety attack because what's going to happen next. Companies are closing. Companies like United and Boeing are laying off people. So there's thousands of people out of a job and they don't know what to do next, right? And who are we? But who are we to say don't have an anxiety attack? But how about we show them that you open up that little hole that you have and let the sun shine in, because you never know who you hear, what you hear, how you hear it, when you hear it. That why is going to just change your whole life, right?
Absolutely.
So amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that.
You're welcome.
So people want to know fear, right? There's always fear. To me, fear is like a shadow. And
Mhm.
I tell my people that shadows are, you want to be always stand at 12 o'clock noon when the shadow is right underneath you.
I love that.
Right. And so shadow, you can never get rid of it. And the other thing, when I think of fear and I think of shadow, is Peter Pan. Right. His shadow runs away from him and then he stitches it back to him because he wanted that shadow to be with him. I
Mhm.
don't understand why, but he stitched it with him. So the thing is, your shadow always is going to be with you, and that shadow is kind of fearful, but it is how you take it. If you stand at 12 o'clock at any given time, it's underneath you, so you don't have to worry where it's going to go.
Right.
But how do you tell people to overcome fear?
So I love the energy that fear can give you if you can look at it differently. So when I have something that I get an idea that I need to do, an action step, if it scares me, then I know that it's going to be amazing. I know that it's going to bring huge results. And so if it scares me, I go harder after it because I know that's where I need to go. So I have a really fun process that I do on stage where I don't tie people up, but I have ropes and I bring 4 people up on stage with the person who's scared of their success or whatever it is they're scared of. And I have each person hold a rope that's tied to their wrist, ankle, and ankle. And each of the 4 people are the embodiment of their fear. So, I say, well, what is it that scares you about, whatever it is they're scared of? And so I make them, really think about it. And it's when you break it down to the basic reasons, it's usually fear of judgment, fear of the unknown, and fear of success. Those are like the 3 main ones. And so I help show them that it's irrational to channel their energy into the fear and instead take that energy and channel it into the action step instead. So an action step is not scary. A huge giant goal is scary, but an action step is not scary. So I have them use affirmations and they yell their affirmations at the people holding the ropes. And when the people holding the ropes believe them, they let go. And then the person is free to go run after their goal, which is now across the room at the event. So that's a really fun stage way to do it. And then, in a private session, we analyze it more quietly. What are you really scared of? Because it's never what they say it is. It's always something deeper. And once you identify that deeper fear, you can write an affirmation for it. You can journal about it. You can say, okay, well, if that happens, then what? And then if that happens, then what? And you take it all the way to the end of all the bad things that could happen. And it's usually silly. It's usually totally silly. So that's a really fun way to do it, I think. Because when you realize that your fears end in something so ridiculously silly, it's like, oh, okay. It just takes all the power out of that fear.
I love it. I love it. So, and it's true because when we talk about it, and usually when we talk to 2 people about it, or you're talking to your friend or your uncle or your aunt or whatever, but when you're talking about it, that initial investment of time and letting your fears out allows you to amplify what doesn't need to happen. And I think, like I was talking to my friend the other day, and she goes, "But what if I can't do it?" Well, you haven't tried it. that's also an underlying fear, and they
Yeah.
always fearful of what's never going to happen when they haven't even tried it.
Right.
You know,
So
and
funny.
I give them an example because the other day when I was with my 9-month-old grandson, I
Hmm.
was, he wanted stuff, and I said, okay. And I took some chili sauce because he thought it was ketchup. I don't like ketchup, so I took some chili sauce, just a little bit, and I put it in his mouth because he wanted it. He pulled my hair, and I said, that's not going to work. So I just, you know, put the swab on his teeth right here. And I said, just lick it. And then he looked at me. He looked at me like, I'm going to kill you, Grandma. What did you do? Right? And I said, I told you I don't have ketchup. You have to understand that. What I have is not ketchup, but you don't understand. So you want what I have, so take it, right? I gave him just a little tad bit, but he understood. His eyes began to water because he's never tasted it. And I said, this is what it is. Because if we say, what if you give him chilies, to hot sauce or chili sauce or whatever, what if you give him chili sauce, then you look and think about the consequences. You don't know, but you got to do it. And then his eyes just got watered and he walked away from me, never asked me for ketchup again for a minute. And then he was fine. I mean, he just, that initial fear was overcome, and then he just left. And I said, this is a perfect example. I'm going to use it for my talks as well. But that's exactly it, because once you take that first step, you look back and you think, oh, that was silly. And now
Right.
I want to take, so now what do I do from here? 2 years ago we went to the Great Wall of China, and our bus, the guide we had, he said, look, you can go to the wall till the end. Every so many spots, they have a guide who gives you a certificate that you reach this point.
Yeah.
But you have to get to the top, right, to get there. However, what he said to us was that you can take pictures at any point in Great Wall of China, and nobody will ever know what part you were in because it all looks the same. But remember, wherever you go, you have to come back,
Oh.
because nobody's going to come get you.
Yeah, good point.
So that was his point. Now he goes, go conquer. So some people just went 7 steps and they took pictures, and oh, it was so wonderful. Some overachievers went and got the certificate.
Yeah.
But the Wall of China is not, the steps there are not regular. Some are very small and some are very big. So
Oh.
you get a good workout. You do. So it looks very pretty when you look at it, all the pictures, but the steps are very uneven. Now,
Oh.
so you have to then make a choice how far you want to go, because wherever you go to, you have to come back. And so that's part of it, because my husband, my late husband, he went about 7 steps and he stood there, took a few pictures, and he goes, I'm going to go back down. I, on the other hand, the overachiever, had to go 25 steps. But when I climbed up, I was like, oh, this is so wonderful. Then when I looked down, it was an arduous task, because now the steps are all uneven, and now you have to now calculate your way how to get down. So,
Oh, no.
this is just my 2 cents, but I don't want to take away from your talk. So tell us how people manifest clients. That's something else people are looking for as well.
Oh, it's really good. So what you do, first of all, is you have to know exactly who you want to work with. That is the step that most people don't want to do, because they say, I can help everyone.
Of course.
Of course you can, but if you want to really specifically attract certain, if you want to reach the right people, you've got to decide exactly who you want to work with. So that's probably the hardest step right there. But once you've decided who you want to work with, then you can do several things. First of all, make sure you have room in your life, your office, and your energy for the amount of clients that you want. And a lot of people don't understand that, but like if your office is a disorganized mess, you will not attract new clients because your energy is too chaotic. New people won't come to you. So that's another thing. So who do you want to work with? Make room, especially in your office, and your schedule. Schedule time for when you want to work with clients, and don't give that time away to anybody but clients. And until you have clients scheduled for those times, work on your office, work on your marketing, work on your client finding activities so that those hours are always only set apart for clients. Another thing is to do an affirmation about how much you love working with, and then describe your ideal client. And oh gosh, there's so many things. I have a 12-week course on it. It's
nice.
very comprehensive.
Okay.
Those are like the first few steps.
So
and it goes on.
affirmations, right?
Yes.
The first thing is affirmations, and then organize your office. And, because that's something you want. And then you have to have room in your office, room in your schedule, and you said room in your energy.
Yes.
How do you find room in my energy?
Oh, so that was kind of tricky to explain. Let me see if I can think of a good way to explain it. You know how your mind is always thinking about something, and you're always running, you're always doing things. Your energy can be exhausted, so that you energetically send out a message, I'm full. Nobody come to me, I'm full. I'm done. I have no room left in my energy. So if you meditation is probably the best way to work on that. If you meditate, you clear space in your energy. So most of us, our energy is like just going all the time, right? So when you meditate, it clears things out, slows things down, and then you have less chaos. When you have peace, that's making room in your energy. So you will subconsciously send out messages to people telling them what your energy is like. Did you know that? If you're living in chaos, you will subconsciously send out messages to everyone around you. Please don't bother me. I am too busy. But when you meditate, when you have a peaceful state, at least for a few minutes a day, it doesn't have to be all day, but if you at least have moments of peace and serenity, you will send out a message saying, all right, I'm ready to help someone else. And people will subconsciously be drawn to you. It's a law of attraction thing. It's really cool how it works. So meditate probably is the best answer to that.
Okay, so I love this part, but so I'm going to ask you another question that comes through. When you say meditate,
Yes.
and quiet the auras and chaos in your mind, how does one then, how long does it start? So say I start today, quiet meditation. How long does that take for me to find that peace that you're talking about?
It depends on how big your chaos is to start with. So I would say it would probably take about probably a week to really feel a big difference. I would go for a week.
Any meditation techniques you want to share with us?
I make it easy so that I'll do it. If I make it complicated, it'll never happen. So my easy way to meditate is we have a room where we don't have any electronics. So I go into that room and I sit in my chair and I just close my eyes and focus on my breathing, nothing else. I set a timer on my phone so I can hear it. And I just literally only think about my breathing. I don't let myself think about anything else. When my mind wanders, I go, nope, we're thinking about breathing. And I just do that. I often fall asleep when I meditate, and that's okay. If that's what your brain needs, let it fall asleep. That's all right. But yeah, don't make it complicated is my biggest tip, because then you won't do it.
Okay, got it. So I love the fact that you're sharing the fact that you are worldwide speaker, and you talk about the main things that really bother people. And the fact is, you need to clear your energy, you need to clear your time, you organize your office, and then make sure you have time, because that's another thing most people are worried about. Where am I going to get clients from? Well,
Yeah.
you do these steps, start these steps, and then if you need to learn more, you can connect with Kelly. Kelly, how do people find you?
Well, on Facebook, I'm really easy to find. It's Kaye Walker. You could email me at Kelly at thequeenofmanifesting.com. That's my email. I'm pretty easy to find. Kaye Walker. I'm on Instagram with that name. I'm on TikTok with that name, Facebook with that name. So just search Kaye Walker.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for being with us and sharing your tips and your journey. And the fact that you overcame depression, my hats off to you, because that's something everybody needs to listen.
Yeah, it's big. It's a good thing to overcome.
Yes. Please, ladies and gentlemen, if you like this segment, go ahead, like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And we will be back next week with another guest and another perspective of how to change your life and others' life with the gifts you've got. Thank you, and have a good, wonderful week. Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Munira's Musings with your host, Munira Zahabi. If you enjoyed our show, please share and subscribe to this channel. And for more content, please join our Facebook group.